What's up everyone? I've got a new little garage setup that I wanted to share. Really, I wanted to test it out selfishly because I love this stuff. But this is a under $1,000 system. And what we've been selling a lot of for garages, to keep it really simple, is a Bluetooth connected pair of either AM3s or AM5s. AM3s, I believe, are $600 a pair. So the AM3 version from PSB is a powered pair of speakers, so it has an amplifier built in, and you just connect your phone via Bluetooth. Disadvantage of doing that, of course, is when you're connected via Bluetooth, you're not getting, super high res. But for $600 you can get a really great, much better than any sort of sound bar or little Bluetooth cube little speaker, like a little JBL thing or something like that. So, or like a UE Boom or whatever, something like that. I've had one of those in the shower before. Much better user experience, much more accurate sounding device, and you can get a good experience in the garage. The issue I have with the AM series is headroom, and that's what I'm going to try to answer here. If we spend a few extra $100, because the P3 passive, so these do not have an amplifier, same driver, so same woofer, same tweeter, same box, just doesn't have the plug-in amplifier. Could a pair of passive speakers and then the new Bluesound POWERNODE Edge, which would also offer high-res listening as well, so we wouldn't be connecting via Bluetooth, we'd be connecting, basically using your phone as a remote control rather than using the phone as the player. We can play MQA, master quality audio from Tidal. You can get full high-res connectivity to this device. Would we be better off with an external amplifier and a pair of passive speakers for a few $100 more? So POWERNODE Edge is $650. This is the white one. They make it in white and black. 40 watts per channel, nominal. Now, this amplifier is made by NAD, so it's going to be underrated almost in all instances. But it's a super high quality, super low total harmonic distortion, Class D amplifier. So it's it doesn't have a toroidal transformer and a bunch of giant capacitors. It's a little chip, basically, instead of your traditional, Class A, Class AB amplifier, something like that. So these are extremely efficient. They run extremely cool, and they do super clean power. NAD is one of the few companies that's really invested in this digital amplification technology. Most of the high-end companies are still, using, Class AB in most instances, or Class A in a really high-end instance. But these puppies, these things, first of all, look really cool, and these things actually put out quite a bit more power. Now, this is rated at dynamic power capability of up to, at 4 ohms, up to 80 watts. Now, these speakers are nominal 8 ohm impedance, but remember, the impedance changes. It's not a linear thing. The impedance will change depending on demand, and so these will deliver. It delivers 50 watts of what they call IHF dynamic power, so from 40 to 50, so not a huge power difference. This is actually quite a bit heavier than I thought it would be. But these speakers are rated to handle between 10 and 60 watts, so we should be right in the sweet spot here. And these are all these companies are owned by Lenbrook. So PSB, the Paul Barton designed speakers, and then the Bluesound is their sort of wireless network connected high-res, either amplifiers or players for the house. And then you also have NAD, which would be on the home theater side and the custom install side, the higher end stuff. But they all work together. And so BlueOS provides the software for NAD, BlueOS, PSB. PSB actually has some speakers now that have the integrated BlueOS into them, the Alpha IQ. And then NAD provides the amplifiers for PSB and Bluesound, and then of course PSB provides the drivers for on the speaker side of things. And these are the low-end PSBs, but I actually like them the most. So really simple design. You have left and right speaker outputs. So again, this becomes our amplifier. We also have HDMI eARC, and so this would be great if you had an old TV, and even if it has. So eARC is backwards compatible. So if it has just audio audio return channel on your TV, an older TV, it'll still accept it. eARC allows you to pass full lossless high res, Dolby Digital Plus through an HDMI connection. But again, we're going to be stereo here, so it really doesn't matter. So you have your audio out, we have our sub out, and then you have, if you had some sort of IR control still, I can't see why you would need that, some sort of aftermarket remote control or something like that. And then you do have an extra analog optical in, which they probably provide in the box here. So if you did want to connect some old CD player, or I don't know what else you might have that you wanted to connect, but it'll have this little, it has this little optical adapter here. So if you were going to go optical out of your TV for some reason, or you had like a little high-res pocket player or something like that, you can then plug it into the optical input. So we don't need really anything in here other than the power cord. What is this? Is this a wall mount? Oh, that's cool. So this could come in handy in the garage. Where would this go? Okay, so there's a little wall mountable, almost like a little tripod mount. So you would put a screw in there, and then you'd mount this to the wall, and then you could kind of hang this. So for some of you in the garages or in the house somewhere, maybe it's behind a TV on a wall or something like that, you could hang this in place. I could see how that could be super useful. Maybe it doesn't need a screw in there. Oh yeah, it definitely does. Just sitting there. Okay, cool. So, oh, they do give you, the little thumb screw. Get out of here. Cool. All right, so let me just set this aside and put this back in here. We don't need that for now. We don't need the Euro plug, and we don't need any Ethernet connection. So on this, you do have, I should have finished the input, so here's your power input. You do have USB. This is not USB in, and so it's not great. Like, this won't work as like a controller for your computer, but this is USB just for software update, which you really shouldn't need because you can do it through your phone. And then if you wanted to connect to a network, a wired network, you could. All right, so let's unbox our speakers and then let's wire this thing up, show you how simple this is. I'm just really interested to see, I know it's going to sound great, how much can I crank this sucker up? And then you could also consider getting the bigger speakers as well, which I would highly recommend if you can swing the extra. So these are $300 a pair, P5s, which go from a 4-inch woofer to a 5 1/4 inch woofer. If you step up to the P5s, you do gain about 10 hertz and lower frequency response, a little more amplitude with the bigger box, the bigger cabinet, so you get a little bit more just room-filling bass, if you will. But these little guys are pretty incredible. So the philosophy of Paul Barton is that, he could make any speaker he wants, but he wants to make it affordable. He wants to make it readily accessible. And so when you get these, remember, this is a $300 pair of speakers. They sound like a $1,500 pair of speakers, but they cost $300. And so there has to be some corners cut somewhere. And so they're just doing this in a really simple, mass-produced, Chinese-made cabinet. And then they spend all the time and money on the design. And so I hate aluminum dome sound, but there's two things that they do to these tweeters that make them sound not tinny and bright, especially in a garage, which can be a really harsh listening environment. There's a waveguide in front here, and then it's ferrofluid cooled. So even though it's an aluminum driver, it has a really, really smooth sound to it. And then these little baby woofers are pretty incredible. So it comes down to crossover, the cabinet design, even though it's a simple little 1 1/4 inch or 1 1/2 inch port, really simple setup, but the speakers actually punch way above their belt. I mean, you can see they weigh about 5 pounds a piece, so it's not like I just don't want you to expect something that's like some incredible craftsmanship. That's not what these are about. These are about giving you a really, really great audio experience for as little money as possible, which goes kind of against everything I stand for, but so every time you get a new BlueOS device, you really need to, it'll probably have a software update that'll run automatically, but I'll show you how simple this is. So the best part about this, and I know many of you will throw the Sonos name out there, this is the audiophile version of something like Sonos. Sonos is like what Bose used to be. You know, it's the household name, very highly marketed, you know, decent products, but this is like really, really high quality stuff. The processor in this thing, it's a 1.8 gigahertz ARM type processor, so it's super fast, super proficient, and then it connects seamlessly with all the other BlueOS devices in your house. The app is great. They're actually about to launch a new version of the app, which is really freaking going to be even better than it already is. It's just such a great experience, and most of the time with this modern stuff, you end up with a pretty crappy user experience. So I just have some custom install rated speaker wire, and I'm gonna strip back here. I'm gonna push a little harder. Let's not cut our fingers on camera. I don't have my blood hand shirt on, so let's hope that I don't make my hands bleed. And then, shoot, I need to step up my wire stripper game. Oh wait, I think I do have nope. We'll just use this junky one, but we don't need anything super special here. And we'll snip these so they're the same length. So I have all this stuff in stock, all this stuff available. By the way, this isn't just a garage system. This could be anywhere. And if I was going to do this permanently, I'd buy a set of banana plugs. We have some Metro banana plugs that are, you know, decent-ish. They do the job. Where I'd put some permanent connectors on here so that it was a little bit cleaner long term. But there's no setup here other than the software side of it with the BlueOS connectivity. So we go red into red. So again, if you got some bananas, you could pop the little red cap, a little black cap off of here, and you could go without unscrewing the terminals. Kind of amateur am I here, not putting this in properly. So I'm just interested to see how this amplifier does. You know, PSB, NAD, Bluesound, they get in trouble because they publish like the real power. And so it's not that they get in trouble, they just, they look like they're underpowered, or they don't look like they don't have enough power, but I'm telling you, real world usable power is different than spec sheet power. Something makes me happy is playing with any kind of audio gear, even if it's not my dream stuff. You know, it's given me another avenue to chase, you know, what's a practical setup for, you know, your garage, your office, your, like what would I accept progression-wise, progressively? This is the left speaker. Remember, left and right. Left is always when you're looking at the speaker, not when you're looking out at the listening area. So your listening area looking in, the left speaker would be on the left side, obviously. So then we'll screw this in the front here, like this, nice and simple. Decent binding posts on this. So the next step up from here, if you wanted a little bit more power, would be to go to the traditional power node. Now the traditional power node is 350 bucks more. It's $1,000 bucks. I think it's 1,000. But the Edge was a nice concession. They came out with something that was a little bit more economical, but still has all the same capabilities from a Bluesound perspective or BlueOS perspective. I'm going to show you that app here in a second once I get these speaker wires done. So I'll be right back in a minute. I'm going to set the speaker wire up the same way I did the other one. Now, we don't need the BlueOS app to play if we don't want to. You could use, you know, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. I use Tidal and Spotify. I use Spotify basically listen to Joe Rogan podcast, and then Tidal is any music I'm doing, I'll listen to on Tidal. But BlueOS is the native application. So one of the beauties of using a device like this is the high-res player. And so when I connect with my phone is just telling it what to play, but it's playing high-res natively on the box with the big processor, right? That's dedicated just for music. And so you're getting up to 24-bit, 192 kilohertz proper high-res audio if that's what you're outputting to it. So we're going to add a player. It should look for it there. It shows up. So we need to set up the POWERNODE Edge. You can rename it if you want to. We're probably not going to do that. We're going to wait a second while it connects. And so you could use this to play AirPlay. You could do it for Bluetooth, but we're going to connect via, sort of the direct setup, if you will, or the direct listening. So it's going to connect to my network. Okay, it's going to go through here. It's going to look for updates. It usually takes 5 or 10 minutes for updates. 5 minutes maybe, but it'll give the latest version of BlueOS. It'll probably need an update. They almost always do. They're constantly sending out patches and updates for the software. I'd say on average probably once a month, and so it stays current, stays connected, stays super functioning. Now I have multiple BlueOS networks. I have the BlueOS stuff here at HQ. I have the BlueOS stuff at home, and then in Helen, the Helen house up at Destination OG, I have I think 10 or 11 different zones. As soon as I walk into my house, I walk into the house or I walk into the garage, the BlueOS app connects to the network. As soon as I connect to the network, everything is on the network and I can see it and I can handshake back and forth. That's what's so great about this stuff. So if you do put one of these in your garage, put one of these in your office, you get an NAD receiver in your home theater, you can hit me up. I can help you with doing like a custom install, like in-ceiling or outdoor speaker setup. I think it's the best distributed audio system outside of doing like Elan or Crestron or something crazy, but we can do this ourselves. Like you don't need to have an integrator or some sophisticated programmer work on your system. It doesn't crash, doesn't break, doesn't need any support. It just works, and that's what I want. And then, by the way, I can get some really high-end stuff through the NAD line of equipment. So there's sort of endless opportunity. They also have a high-end line of speakers called Dolly. I like Dynaudio better than Dolly. They're both made in the same country. They're probably made right down the street from each other, but I prefer the Dynaudio stuff. And so I use my NAD stuff to power my Dynaudio equipment. But I'm telling you, these little pea shooters here in a second. I just want to see how much. If I can fill this, I mean, this is a 1,600 square foot garage. Can I fill this room? A little bit better than the AM3s would do for $600. So if I spend a couple bucks in speaker wire, 300, 650, so 950. So if I spend $350 more, I think the $350 alone just for high res is worth it, just so I can play MQA through Tidal, or play at least as high res as Spotify can provide me, 320 kilobits per second. I think Spotify's maximum equivalent output would be like 16-bit, 48 kilohertz, something like that. Yeah, so we're downloading our update. Once that's done, I'll come back to you and we'll listen to some stuff. All right, it took about 10 minutes, finish. It's been a big update. And so now, I got my C658 here, which is connected, and then I have my POWERNODE Edge. And so I go to my Edge, and then I go over here to, let's make sure that we're connected to Tidal. We are. So it shows your HDMI ARC, your Bluetooth, if you wanted to connect to some stuff, but most of the time I'm just listening to Tidal, and then I have all my stuff here. Now we can't listen to this music because it'll copyright protect us. I'll just kind of show you. Taking so long here. The Tidal mixes that then import over to BlueOS, I actually like listening to them more here So it gives you 5 different mixes of music you generally listen to. And it does a great job of breaking it down. So this is my Montana country, I call it, real man country. I hate country, but I don't know, I've been listening to Chris Stapleton and stuff like that a lot. And then I have my normal 90s rock, like Tool, Perfect Circle, 10 Years, Seether, all that kind of crap. What else do I have here? Oh yeah, the real 90s, like Bush, Goo Goo Dolls, all that kind of stuff, And then what else do we have? And then this is like the alternative, like Kaleo, who else? Jack White, all that kind of stuff that I tend to listen to. And so it creates these awesome lists. But we can't play those because, and then I have all of my my tracks that I've saved. I have like maybe 30 tracks that I've saved that I like to go back to occasionally. You can't hear the quality on video anyway, but I'm gonna connect Bluetooth or AirPlay from my iTunes on my MacBook because I have some copyright-free music that you've heard me listen to. So I wanna listen to that, and then we'll kind of wrap up what my thoughts are. I just wanna see how much amplitude I can get from this. And let's play our normal goofy song. It's so good, I can tell already. I'm a frickin' snob, so if I say it's good, it's frickin' good. I had no interest in selling this stuff, but so volume. So it should show, it's showing our AirPlay connectivity, so I can still. Oh yeah, so much better than AM3s. I'm gonna step back. This is AirPlay low res, like probably sub CD quality. Freaking great. There's a crossover in the speakers. These will only play down to 57 hertz, but I'm telling you, you could live without a sub over these for sure. I'm at 75% volume. It's perfect. So I want to show you, you don't have a lot of adjustment, and you don't want to frickin' adjust stuff, but you subwoofer on or off, so we don't have a subwoofer, so it's not going to add, it's not going to cross them over. It's going to give the speakers full range. You can adjust tone control if you wanted to adjust, like you felt like if it was bottoming out a little bit, you could back off, but you really should run these flat, listen to the music native. But that's really the only control is that you'd need. Audio settings. You replay stuff, you'd never mess with that. I like to just run it flat. You can change your balance, which I don't see why you would do it. It's good, man. So most of your garage listening is going to be here, 50%. I've got a little bit of AirPlay feedback coming through here. I'm going to pause the video here. I want to listen to a couple other things so I can give you my real assessment. All right, so it sounds great. This system here, this setup, P3s, with this amplifier, I would say we're probably getting about 25% more amplitude than the powered set of AM3s. I still want more, I think, for my, for my entry-level garage. And so I was looking at the POWERNODE. So one option would be go POWERNODE on P3s. So the POWERNODE's $950, not $1,000. So it's $300 more than the Node Edge. The POWERNODE is quite a bit taller, quite a bit heftier. The POWERNODE is rated at 80 watts per channel, but it's rated at 220 watts of dynamic power. So this doesn't have the sort of headroom, the dynamic output, the substantial output more than this. I almost want to go next door and grab one of those and tear it open and get a set of P5s out. But I think in bass, I can keep making the argument to go up 500, go up 500, go up 500. Before you know it, you're at $10,000. And so I think in a normal garage, let's say you have a set of Husky cabinets or you have a set of New Age or something like that. You don't have the budget or you don't have the real, you don't value music, or you have neighbors where you really can't be ripping into your speakers anyway. I think this combo of P3s and Edge, maybe consider spending the extra $300 or 400, yeah, $300 for the POWERNODE, and you'll get a little bit more output. What will happen is, though, you'll start to reach the capacity of what these can do, and you'll start to bottom out the woofer a bit. And so I think that if you're going to go up to a POWERNODE, you probably need to go up in speakers too. So now you're at $1,450, right? $600 for a pair for the bigger P5s, and then the POWERNODE for so $600 versus $300, so that's $300, and another, so you're $600 more to go up to that combo. But I think this is a really good starter system. I think what would happen is if you start to get addicted to audio in the garage, you'll end up taking this and putting it in your office or somewhere else in your house, kid's room or something like that. It can be a nice little system for a kid's room. Like I would put something like this in Ryan's room. That way he can't blow us out of the house, but still has a decent sonic experience after I've used this for a few years in the garage as I upgrade my system. But I think this is a great combo. Pair of speaker wires, option to add a subwoofer later, so you could set up like an SB1000 or a PB1000 SVS subwoofer in your garage. Would be a nice complement to these. But I think this would be a great start. You're on $1,000 is not really very budget, but if you're on an entry level, you don't have a lot of money in your garage build, you don't have a lot of resources, you don't think you value music in the garage, we get MQA or high-res audio with the Edge. Has plenty of power to power these puppies. I think what you'll find is that, especially if you live in a neighborhood, you're not going to be able to crank up your speakers anyway. But this does have, again, about 25% more amplitude. I feel like I need another 25% to call it perfect. And so in order to get that, you're going to have to go up, and spend a few extra $100 more to do the POWERNODE or maybe the bigger speakers. So anyway, thanks for watching. Go to obsessedgarage.com, go to the garage section, and then we have all kinds of different audio solutions there for home or garage or wherever else you might have needs. We're working on developing our desk systems as well. If it's too confusing for you, don't know where to start, you can always hit me up. I love talking about this stuff. Matt at obsessedgarage.com. And I can help advise you on what speakers to do. My money's on a set of Dyne Audio studio or core studio monitors and a couple of $4,000 subwoofers. But this is what I do for a living. This is much more practical. This is what the 23-year-old. Actually, I got my first house when we were about 25. So this is the 25-year-old Matt. This audio system that's going in my garage because I'm in a neighborhood. I can't crank it up. I want some decent audio in there, so when I close the garage door, I can listen to something nice. I wouldn't have had the budget to do something crazy, and so I would have absolutely started with something like this, and then found somewhere else to put this in my house and continue to upgrade over time. So, yeah, good quality equipment, even on the mid-end. Depending on what your definition of mid-end is. This isn't entry level, but on the entry level of what I'm willing to accept, good quality audio can completely change the experience in the garage. Especially for those of you who are not on camera all the darn time. You listen to podcasts, you could connect a TV to if you had an old TV through eARC, and just improve the whole experience in the garage. You're changing oil, you're polishing the car. I just can't can't explain to you how much better it is when you have a decent set of speakers that aren't harsh, that you can rock out to whenever you want to. It just changes the whole experience of the garage. So hit me up if I can help with it. Thanks for your support. We'll see you in the next video. See you soon.